everybody, it's Katie from Ray & Company Face Painting and Body Art, and today we are going to be doing a tropical flower tutorial, and it's going to be a little bit different than I normally do. So it's going to be a little bit flatter, just kind of not as much dimension. It's really fun to use all the split cakes and stuff, and I am going to be using a split cake or one stroke here, and we'll get to the supplies in a minute, but wanted to do something just a little bit different today. So let's go over the supplies that we'll be using. So as usual, I have a white and a black here. Today I'm using Wolf Black Hydrocolor. It's a number 10. So I will set that aside. I'm using my Tag regular white today. I have a small mister bottle for activating my paint. These are water-based paints. Something that I didn't say about these, the white and black are used for line work primarily, and they're a wax-based paint. So it just helps with the line work a little bit. We will be using a little bit of fun glitter today. So these are some Mama Clown glitter colors. I'll put the links in the description for you, but we'll be using some of that today just to polish things off. I like using these half round and teardrop sponges, so we will be using some sponging today. And then in terms of brushes, I'll be using a couple round brushes, and really what you need, the bare minimum that I'll be using for this design is really a 3/4 inch flat, an angle brush. This is about a 1/2 inch angle. It's called the Petal. I think this one is called Beautiful Butterfly or Romantic Rose. Don't quote me on that one. Well, let's see. The smaller one here is called Beautiful Butterfly, so this one's going to be called Romantic Rose. But anyway, and then I have a number 3 round by Blazing Brush, Marcella Bustamante. So these are really the 3 basic brushes that you'll need. I like to have a couple extra of the same style just to help the design go a little quicker. So I have another number 3. This one is a Paint Pal Silly Farm brush. So I have 2 number 3s, and then this smaller angle brush is the Beautiful Butterfly. Again, this just helps the design go a little bit quicker when you have multiple brushes of the same style. That way you don't have to rinse your brushes in between colors. You can just rinse them all at the end. So it's just kind of a little hack. And then in terms of special paint today, I've got a bright rose Arty brush cake that I'll be using. And really it's just going to help give the flower a little bit of a darker outline around the edges. So we'll go ahead and use that. In terms of solids, I have, a larger palette over here. I'll switch over there to so you can see it. But I have a larger palette over here that I use, and it's kind of a mix of paint, so a mix of brands, I mean. If you are interested in learning more about the brands and stuff that I like and the different tools, you can head over to rayfaceart.com/learn here in my website and pick up this How to Build Your First Face Painting Starter Kit. I actually just updated this guide to have a lot more options in terms of products and pricing and stuff like that, and it's just a little bit more updated for 2020. So again, if you want to snag that, head over to rayfaceart.com/learn. Okay guys, let's get started. We are going to start out with a little bit of sponging. I have a half round. It's already preloaded. So I am going to come over to my paints here, and I'm going to grab just a little bit of green. So I just spritzed it, and I have, the tip of it kind of activated here. And then essentially what we're going to do, and I need to we'll clean this off at the end, is we're just going to get a little bit of green, just a little bit of a green base kind of around the eyes. I wouldn't go green on the eyelids. Green tends to be something that is a color that stains pretty easily. It doesn't stay there for long, but It does stain a little bit, so keep it away from the eyelids and stuff like that. Really, that's about all we need for the green. So we will set that sponge aside. And then I'll go ahead and reach for one of those number 3 rounds. And I'm just going to go back over into my paint palette here. And we're going to go for, actually, let's go bring it back down here. We're going to go for a little bit of this darker green. So I'll activate that, give it a little spritz. This green is, I don't know, I can't remember the exact color of it. I think it might be like a forest green. But this is by Graftobian. And that's a Madison, Wisconsin based company. All right, so heading back over to our face, we're just going to do some kind of like a little bit of palm action here. And I'm going to go back into my green, load it up a little bit more. You guys don't need to see that. And the green that I'm using is not a wax-based paint. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure it's glycerin-based. That just means that it's a little bit better for sponging. Not so amazing necessarily for line work, but it does work. So it's a little bit tricky on practice boards too, because they're usually plastic, and this one certainly is, and so it kind of gives a transparent kind of look to it. All right, so we have our greenery kind of going on in the background, and next up I want to work on this little bit of these teal leaves here. So I'm going to grab that, I'm going to go ahead and grab that beautiful, wait for it. Okay, not beautiful butterfly. This one is the romantic rose. It's all worn off on the handle. So coming back over to my paints, we'll go ahead and go into this teal color here. So, and actually we'll go into this one. So give it a little spritz. I'm going to load up my brush. This is another color from Graftobian. One of these 2 colors here is called Seafoam Green. I think it's this one. I don't remember what this more teal one is called. Okay, so heading back over to our face here, essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to sneak a couple of leaves in here. And I kind of want to leave a little opening because I wanted to go with like a little bit more of a flat looking design. I'm going to just load up a little more teal. Kind of a flat looking design, just to switch things up a little bit. There is another tutorial that uses basically the same sort of design layout on my channel here. And it uses more one strokes, so you get a little bit more of that dimension. So you can check that out if you want. But just to switch things up, I kind of wanted to do something kind of flat. In terms of graphic design, flat design was kind of popular a couple years ago. I think we're still hanging on to it a little bit. You don't see it that much in face painting. It's usually more in print and graphic design, but I thought it would be fun to try to do something a little flatter for this. Okay guys, so now I'm heading over to grab that Arty brush large. This is a 3/4 inch flat brush, and I am gonna bring that over into this pink over here, right here. So I'll give that a spritz and load it on up. Okay, let's see. Maybe a little tiny bit more. All right, that should do it. So we'll head back over here. And I usually just work in 3s when I'm doing This brush is so big, and there's usually not a whole lot of real estate in between the eye and the ear here. So I usually do 3 sort of petals. So do something like that, grabbing just a little bit more of that pink. And then we'll do one over here as well. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now you may or may not be able to see it. I'm getting a little bit of separation down here at the bottom, and that's just because I'm working on this plastic practice board, and if you get it ever so slightly too wet, which wouldn't be too wet for the skin, but sometimes it's a little too wet for the board, that's what happens. All right, so I have that clean, I still have that clean, beautiful butterfly angle brush, and now I'm going to go into this Arty brush cake in bright rose, and I'm really just going to pick up these 2 colors here. So I'm going to spritz this off camera with my water bottle here. And my brush is damp, so usually to dampen my brush, I just rinse it around in my water and then blot it on a towel that I have over to the side. So I spritz my cake, you can see it's nice and shiny, and then I have a damp brush. The trick with the 1 strokes, and here I can show you loading it here. I just gave it another spritz, but really the trick with loading brushes from split cakes like this or 1 strokes is you don't want it to be too wet where it starts to run, and it can just be real easy to do that if you have a lot of water on your brush. Okay, so really the whole purpose of this is just to give the edge of the flower a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to activate this just a little bit more. So you can kind of see how it's giving it just a little bit of a darker edge on it. And you get this real nice purple kind of blend too when you go over the teal, which looks cool. Okay. Perfect. I like that. And then so what we're going to do next is I'm just going to give my brush a quick rinse and then reload and get a little bit more of that hot pink in there. And then we're just going to do the, I don't even know what you would call it. We're just going to do this little number right here. That thing. Okay. So now I'm doing a little bit more of the pink, about 2/3 pink, 1/3 of that red. It's not an exact science. And then we're just going to, you know what, I kind of did this backwards, but that's all right. We're going to do it this way. All right, so we're just going to kind of go like this and then swoop it up, just like that. That one's a little bit too big, but I was trying to show you. All right, so I have a clean swirl 3. I'm going to go back into that pink just to finish off this design and get kind of a creamy consistency. I'm going to roll my brush in there to get a little puddle because we're going to come back over here and make some dots. And I think the last dot's going to be up here, and then we just kind of want to work in a triangle sort of shape to get the rest of those dots on there. Perfect. All right, so I don't have another clean number 3 round, so I'm just going to rinse my brush out and grab my white. And if you want to keep the flat look, you would just stop here and stop there. But I'm just going to go ahead and throw some highlights on some of these leaves just for fun. And then maybe just a little bit on the stem. Or I don't even know that this isn't really a stem, but you guys let me know in the comments what this thing is called in the middle of I think this is a hibiscus flower. So yeah. Okay, so to finish this one off, and again, it is meant to be a little bit flat. You could go back in here and, excuse me, but you could go back in here and give it, you know, a black outline around the petals and around the leaves. But I'm just going to leave it like it is today. And if you guys do that, you should, if you do this design and you do the flat look and maybe you outline it, then let me know on Instagram. I'm over on Instagram at Ray Face Art. I'm going into this Mama Clown glitter, and I just picked up some on a dry, fluffy brush, and I'm just kind of tapping it off. And then I'm going to tap it off over on the side of my art table. Going to go into some of this really pretty teal. Same thing. I'm just going to tap it off onto the teal leaves there. This is one of my favorite glitters. I love it. It looks great over teal. It looks great over blue. It looks great over green. It's just so versatile. I can show you what it looks like when you kind of go over the green. I don't know if you guys get that sense, but anyway, it's just a real pretty, glitter when you go over any of those sort of cool colors. Okay, guys, so that really wraps up this tutorial. So we just did a tropical flower today in kind of a flat design. If you guys go back and you do some outlining here, then definitely tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see how it looks, or see what you guys did with sort of that flat look without using too many split cakes. Again, if you are looking to follow me on Instagram, you can do so I'm over there at Ray Face Art. And then if you wanted to pick up that how to build your first face painting starter kit, you can get that over there at rayfaceart.com/learn. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next tutorial. All right, take care.